My name is Amoka Chidima Okafor, and I threw away my future for a boy who didn't love me back. I was the girl with the straight A's. The one who sat in the front row. The girl every lecturer called promising. I had a shot at graduating with a first-class degree in political science. My parents beamed with pride whenever they spoke about me back home in Enugu. I was their hope, their investment, their proof that poverty ends in one generation. And then I met Obinna. My soulmate. My Mpurubi. At least, that's what I used to call him. Obinna wasn't just charming, he was magnetic. He sang Igbo love songs with his guitar under the mango tree near the hostel. He told me I was his muse, the rhythm behind his every lyric. I believed him. Every word. Every lie wrapped in melody. He had big dreams of becoming a music star. I had savings meant for textbooks and registration fees, but I used it to pay for his studio sessions. I didn't mind. I believed in him. In us. So when he begged me to help him pass our second semester exams, my answer came too easily. It's just one paper, Amoka, he whispered the night before, lying next to me in my cramped hostel room. His head was on my lap, his voice low like a secret hymn. If I fail this course, I won't be eligible for the school talent show. You know what that means for my career? I hesitated. But Obinna, if they catch us. They won't. He sat up, eyes shining. You're brilliant. You write so well, even the lecturers respect your essays. Just this one. Help me this one time. And like a fool, I agreed. I wrote his paper. Word for word. Cited sources. Structured it better than mine. I handed it in through a proxy, made sure it wouldn't link back. At least, that's what I thought. 2 weeks later, I was summoned to the HOD's office. I still remember that day. How my legs went weak when I saw both scripts laid out on his desk. Identical paragraphs. Identical formatting. My name circled in red ink. The verdict. Academic misconduct. And Obinna. He never came forward. He watched as I took the blame. I told them I wrote both out of panic, that I couldn't bear to see him fail. They asked if he pressured me. I lied. I said no. I was suspended for a year. He stayed in school, untouched, unbothered. I expected him to come home that weekend. To comfort me. Apologize. Promise we'd find a way back together. But Obinna didn't even call. He posted a photo on Instagram that same night, smiling with a red plastic cup in hand, captioned, "No pressure, just vibes." I sat in my father's sitting room that night, humiliated. My mother couldn't look me in the eye. My younger brother whispered behind doors that I had disgraced the family. And all I could think was, I protected him. I sacrificed everything for him. And he just walked away. 2 weeks into my suspension, I checked Instagram again. Why did I do that? Maybe I needed pain. And there he was. Obinna. Kissing a new girl. A 100 level fresher. In the same spot where he once sang love songs for me. And that was the moment I knew. This wasn't just heartbreak. This was war. I told myself to block him. Delete his photos. Mute his name. Reclaim my dignity. But heartbreak has a sick way of keeping you on a leash. I still checked his page every night like a ritual I couldn't break. I watched him post song snippets, party selfies, and motivational captions like "Protect your peace, victory hand, medium dark skin tone," as if he hadn't just burned mine to the ground. And then, the picture that finally broke me. Obinna. In a studio booth. Headphones on. Grinning ear to ear. Caption, "Thankful to the queen who believed in me. This EP is for you, Red Heart." But it wasn't about me. Because tagged in the photo, front and center, was her. Adis Choku. Mass Com 100 level. Pretty. Light-skinned. The kind of girl whose lips always glisten and whose laugh was louder than her thoughts. I felt sick. He dedicated a project I funded to a girl who probably thought the studio sessions were paid for with his own sweat. I couldn't sleep that night. The anger inside me boiled over into obsession. I dug up old receipts, bank alerts, chat screenshots. 40,000 Nigerian nairas for studio deposit. 5,000 Nigerian nairas for transport. 3,500 Nigerian nairas for airtime, his excuse, baby, I'm stranded. I even found a screenshot of a chat where I sent him lyrics I'd written. Yes, I wrote them, lines he once said touched his soul. Guess what? Those exact lines showed up in one of his new songs. And next to the lyrics, in the song credits, written by Obinna Graves. Obinna Graves. He even changed his last name online, to sound more international. I lost it. I stormed into my mother's kitchen at 2 a.m., clutching printed receipts and shaking like a woman possessed. He used me, Mama. I shouted. He used everything. My money, my brain, my heart, and now he's flaunting some cheap lipstick Instagram girl while I sit here, ashamed to show my face in church. My mother flinched. She didn't know what to say. Because truth is, I'd hidden most of it from her. She thought Obinna was just one of those boys who sweet-talked his way through school. She didn't know I sponsored him. She didn't know I'd risked everything. Until that night. The next morning, she sat beside me. Quiet. Unusually gentle. I know this pain, she said softly. I was once the girl who bet on a man with sweet words and nothing in his hand. But you still have time. You can rewrite this story. I've already been suspended. Then start with that. Fight your way back. She placed a letter on my lap, sealed in a white envelope. The Vice Chancellor's office. I opened it. A hearing date. The university was reopening my case. Turns out, one of the lecturers had doubts. He believed someone else was involved. The school wanted to re-examine the fact. If I provided proof, real proof, there was a chance at reinstatement. And suddenly, everything inside me shifted. Before, I wanted to move on. But now, I wanted justice. I gathered everything. The WhatsApp messages. The voice notes. The receipts I transferred under his name. I even contacted the proxy who submitted his paper, who now, after some convincing, and 5,000 Nigerian nairas worth of data and airtime, agreed to testify that the script came from Obinna's USB. I had a case. I had evidence. And I had rage. But that's when I saw it. A flyer, circulating in group chats. Obinna Graves, performing live at the Aqua Freshman Night concert. Sponsored by one of the biggest record labels on campus. So while I prepared to beg for my future back, he was becoming famous with my work. That night, I got a DM from an anonymous account. No words. Just 3 pictures. Obinna holding hands with Adis, that the mall I used to take him to. Obinna in the back seat of a Lexus, my cousin's Lexus, the one I'd borrowed to take him to the studio months ago. And the third. A receipt. 85,000 Nigerian nairas. Paid to a luxury hotel. With my name forged in the signature line. The message that followed. Expose him. Or he'll keep using you, forever. I stared at the forged hotel receipt for hours. 85,000 Nigerian nairas. My name, written in his handwriting. A signature I didn't make. And the words, Presidential Suite, 2 nights, in bold. I felt cold. Numb. Like the Amoka who once cried for this boy had finally died. And the woman rising in her place, was ready for war. The next morning, I got dressed like I was heading into battle. Hair in a tight bun. Simple earrings. White blouse. No makeup, just clean skin and fire in my eyes. My parents sat quietly as I packed my documents into a brown file. Chat printouts. Transfer receipts. Voice notes. Screenshots. And the new receipt with the forged signature. My mother walked me to the gate. She held my shoulders and whispered, "Don't go there to beg. Go and speak your truth." And I did. The hearing room was colder than I remembered. 3 senior lecturers. 1 student affairs officer. 1 woman from legal. They asked me to recount my story, this time, fully. So I did. I told them how I'd helped Obinna cheat. How I wrote his paper. How I took the fall. How he never came forward. How he continued to benefit while I was humiliated. Then I dropped the bomb. "I have proof he used my money to fund his music," I said, placing the receipts on the table. Studio payments. Equipment cost. Transport. I have over 200,000 Nigerian nairas in direct transfers, while I was saving for school fees. I showed them the hotel receipt. The signature. The call history. Everything. There was a moment of silence. Then the student affairs officer said, "Why did you protect him for so long?" And for the first time in months, I said the truth. Because I thought he was my soulmate. And when you love someone that deeply, you'd rather drown quietly than admit they pushed you in. I walked out of that room lighter. Not because I knew they'd forgive me, but because I had finally stopped protecting a coward in the name of love. And that alone felt like healing. Later that evening, I was sitting in my room, praying, when my cousin barged in. "Have you seen Twitter?" she said. I shook my head. She handed me her phone. And there it was. #Obinna the scammer. #Justice for Mocha. #he used her music. Trending. Someone had leaked one of the studio receipts, with my name attached, and paired it with a clip from Obinna's song. In the caption, they wrote, "This girl paid for his dreams. He paid her back with silence and shame." And below that, hundreds of comments. "He's wicked. Men like this deserve karma. Expose him. Sue him. Make him pay. I can't believe he dedicated the EP to another girl. You're stronger than you think, Amoka." I didn't know who leaked it. But I didn't care. The world finally knew the truth. Obinna, of course, messaged me that night. "Obinna, Amoka, we need to talk. Obinna, what are you doing? Obinna, don't let strangers ruin what we had. Obinna, you know I always loved you." I didn't reply. But I did screenshot every message. For evidence. 2 days later, the school released their decision. Amoka Chidinma Okafor, suspension lifted. Reinstated with disciplinary warning. I screamed. My mother cried. My brother hugged me like he used to before the shame settled over the house like fog. I was going back. I had my future back. But that's not even the best part. 2 hours after the decision dropped, I got a call. It was from a campus radio show producer. They'd seen my story. They wanted me to appear on a panel about women, love, and academic abuse. At first, I hesitated. Then I said yes. Because maybe it was time I stopped hiding in the shadows of my pain and started using my voice. The day before the radio show, I got an envelope under my door. No name. No return address. Inside, a photo of Obinna. Sitting in a fancy restaurant. Holding hands with another girl. Not Adis. And attached to the photo, a medical report. Pregnancy results. Positive. Next to the results, someone had scribbled in red pen. Let's see if he denies this too. I stared at the pregnancy result like it was a bomb someone had left at my doorstep. Positive. Obina's name scribbled across the top corner. A red ink message that felt like a warning. Let's see if he denies this too. My first thought. Adis. But the girl in the photo wasn't her. No glossy lips. No freshman filters. This one looked older. Classy. Confident. Probably final year, maybe even a lecturer's assistant. So now he was upgrading his betrayal. Using new women to rewrite the same story. I should have been shocked. But honestly, I wasn't surprised. I kept the envelope and went straight to my cousin, Amara. She was the only one who could process madness as quickly as I could say, "You won't believe what I just saw." She leaned over the photo, eyes narrowed. This guy is sick. Like, how many lives is he trying to ruin at once? He told me I was his everything, I muttered. And now he's out here populating the faculty like he's Noah building the Arkansas. We laughed. But it wasn't joy, it was disbelief. Then Amara said, "You know what this means, right? He's about to lose everything. One scandal was forgivable. But two. A baby. A pregnancy he might not claim. You could end him with this." I nodded slowly. But should I? She looked at me. The better question is, do you still care what happens to him? The next day, I went on air. I wore a red blouse. Simple makeup. Braids pulled back into a bun. I looked like myself, but stronger. The campus radio station had been promoting the panel for days. Love, loyalty and lies, when protecting him cost you everything. It was standing room only. I sat between two other panelists, both women, both survivors of betrayal in their own way. One had been cheated on by a fiancé who married someone else 6 weeks after their engagement. The other. Her best friend slept with her boyfriend and got pregnant. We shared our stories. I told mine. Raw. Open. No shame. I didn't name Obina, but anyone who had Wi-Fi knew who I was talking about. I risked my degree for a man who didn't even ask if I was okay after the fallout. I protected him. Funded him. Believed him. And when it all crashed, I was the only one who bled. The room was silent. Then a guy in the crowd raised his hand. "Do you regret it?" I looked him in the eye. I regret protecting someone who wouldn't even flinch if I drowned. But I don't regret waking up. Because now, I finally see him for what he is. Applause broke out. And just like that, I wasn't just the girl who got suspended. I was the girl who came back swinging. But the universe wasn't done. After the show, a girl approached me. She looked nervous. Kept glancing over her shoulder like she was being watched. "Are you a mocker?" she whispered. "Yes." She handed me another envelope. "My friend asked me to give this to you. She said she couldn't do it herself." Before I could ask more, the girl disappeared into the crowd. I opened it. Inside. Photos. Of Obina. With 3 different women. Dates. Gift. Love notes. Screenshots. But one photo made my heart stop. It was from months ago. Obina. And me. Taken from behind a window. We were holding hands. Someone had been watching us. And underneath that photo, someone had written. "He's been using all of us. You were never the first. But maybe, you'll be the last." That night, I got a message from a strange IG page. "Check your school portal." Now. I logged in. My grades. All of them had been wiped. A red notice blinked at the top of the screen. Academic integrity under review. New evidence submitted. I gasped. Someone was trying to take me down again. And I knew who it was. Obina wasn't done with me yet. I stared at my student portal, jaw clenched so tight it felt like my teeth would shatter. Academic integrity under review. New evidence submitted. I had just gotten reinstated. My future was finally within reach again. And now, this. I knew it. I didn't need a prophet. Obina was behind it. The timing was too perfect. The envelope with the baby report. The girl with the photos. My radio show blowing up on campus. And now, someone had sent new evidence to try to tear it all back down. He wasn't just trying to silence me anymore. He wanted me gone. I rushed to student affairs first thing in the morning. My palms were sweating, but my voice was steady. What's going on with my portal? The secretary frowned and led me to the registrar's office. Inside, the dean looked exhausted. Like he'd read too many lies in too few hours. We received an anonymous tip claiming you forged your reinstatement documents, he said, adjusting his glasses. They also submitted screenshots of chats, supposedly between you and a male lecturer. He flipped the folder around. I saw them. Fake screenshots. Fake messages. Me, supposedly offering favors in exchange for reinstatement. I wanted to scream. Sir, those are fabricated, I said. I've never had a conversation like that in my life. Someone is trying to sabotage me. The dean nodded, but didn't look convinced. You need to write an official statement. The board will view it. I walked out trembling. Humiliation doesn't hit like a slap. It seeps in slowly. Like ink spilling across your life. I called Amora. She came running with a plan. We are not playing defense anymore, she said, typing furiously. We are playing offense. She had already saved copies of everything we had on Obina, screenshots, voice notes, receipts, forged documents. But this time, we were going to do more. We were going public. We created a new anonymous Instagram page. At Obina Unmasked. No names. No faces. Just truth. We started posting everything in fragments. His studio receipts with my name on them. His song lyrics next to my WhatsApp text. Voice notes of him begging me to write his papers. The hotel receipt with the forged signature. And finally, the pregnancy test. We didn't mention the girl's name. We didn't need to. Within hours, the page had 4,000 followers. By nightfall, 11,000. People started tagging him. Explain this, Obina Graves. So this is the voice of the queen who believed in you? Men will disgrace you with your own sweat. And just like that, the internet put him on trial. Then came the twist. The pregnant girl DM'd me. I wasn't ready for her message. My name is Ijeoma. I'm not his girlfriend. I was his girlfriend's roommate. I never even liked him. Asterisk, he drugged me at a party. Said I was too serious and needed to relax. I didn't even know I was pregnant until 2 months later. He told me to keep quiet or he'd ruin me. I believe you, Amoka. I'm ready to talk. My breath caught in my throat. This was bigger than cheating. Bigger than lies. This was a crime. I met Ijeoma in person 2 days later. She was tall, soft-spoken, and visibly tired. She showed me the hospital report. The text he sent. The threats. I was shaking. You don't have to do this, I said. You've been through enough. She looked me dead in the eye. No, we have to do this. He doesn't just ruin girls, he leaves us to bleed alone. I'm tired of bleeding in silence. And that's when I realized. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was rescue. The next morning, I got an email. From a lawyer. Subject line, cease and desist, defamation and harassment. Attached. A formal lawsuit. Obinna was suing me for emotional distress and character assassination. And I smiled. Because now, it was time to take this battle to court. Where lies go to die. I read the cease and desist letter 3 times. He was suing me. Obinna Chukwumeka Graves, a man who couldn't spell integrity if it was tattooed on his chest, was accusing me of defamation. According to the letter, I had intentionally damaged his reputation, caused emotional distress, and interfered with his future opportunities in the entertainment industry. I burst into laughter. It wasn't joy. It wasn't humor. It was the kind of laughter that came when life had burned your house down so thoroughly, you were standing in the ashes with a match in your hand, and still getting blamed for the fire. Amora stormed into my room with her phone in hand. He wants to sue you. This boy has the audacity of 3 politicians in one. I nodded slowly. He's panicking. That page we started. It hurt him more than we thought. She sat beside me and whispered, we hit a nerve. Now we aim for the heart. And just like that, the fire in me doubled. I called the university's legal aid office the next morning. They assigned me to a sharp-tongued final-year law student named Ifani who had already been following the @Obinna account like it was Netflix. I've been waiting to take someone like him down, he said, flipping through my documents. This guy's not suing for justice, he's suing to silence you. Can we beat him? He smacked. No. We'll bury him. We countersued. Fraud. Forgery. Harassment. Emotional abuse. We attached. My bank statements. My academic suspension notice. The reinstatement letter. Idioma's hospital report. Her recorded testimony. The fake screenshots Obinna submitted to the school. It wasn't just defense. It was a reckoning. And just as the legal drama unfolded, something unexpected happened. The school newspaper requested an interview. I almost said no. But then I remembered all the girls like Idioma. All the girls who had messaged the @Obinna account, sharing stories they were too afraid to say aloud. This wasn't about my shame anymore. It was about shattering the silence. I sat in the courtyard of the Fine Arts building, recorder on, voice clear. I didn't ask to be a voice for betrayed girls. But once you've survived this kind of manipulation, silence feels like surrender. The article was titled, "She took the fall, now she's rising." Within 48 hours, it went viral across campus. Lecturers sent it to their students. The dean of students reposted it. Even some male students started messaging me to say, "We see you. You're doing something important." But Obinna. He retaliated again. He dropped a video on Instagram, shirtless, looking vulnerable, music playing softly in the background. Caption: I never meant to hurt her. We were young. People make mistakes. I still wish her the best. The comments dragged him. Gaslight 101. You wish her the best, but you tried to sue her. So this is the soft boy apology tour. You're not a victim. You're a whole villain. He disabled comments within 3 hours. Then came the hearing. We weren't in a real court, but in front of a university ethics panel. The same one that had nearly ended my academic career. But this time, I wasn't the girl begging for forgiveness. I was the woman presenting evidence of everything. Idioma stood beside me, head high, voice unwavering as she told the truth about what Obinna did. When she said, "I wanted to disappear. But I survived. And I want him to know I won't disappear ever again," the room fell completely silent. Obinna didn't show up. He sent a lawyer and a signed affidavit. But silence is loud. And this time, his silence exposed him. After the hearing, I was walking down the corridor when someone stopped me. A man. Early 30s. Clean shirt, ID tag around his neck. He said, "Amoka." Yes. He handed me a business card. Producer. Investigative podcast. Lagos. I read your story, he said. We'd like you to come on the show. You're not the only one he's hurt. We've been tracking him for months. And then he said the words that made my blood freeze. Obinna has done this before. In 2 other schools. You're not his first academic casualty. But maybe you'll be the last. I held the producer's card in my hand all night, flipping it over, memorizing every printed letter. Kenechukwu Opora. Senior producer, Unmuted Voices. A Nigerian investigative podcast. I'd heard of them before. They weren't your average gossip show. Unmuted Voices dug deep. They'd expose corrupt university deans, shady admissions rackets, and even saved a girl from being expelled after a false pregnancy rumor. And now, they wanted my story. No. They wanted his. The next morning, I boarded a bus to Lagos. I told no one, not even my parents. Just Amora. You're going to finish what you started, she said, hugging me tight. And I hope the whole country hears your voice. It was the first time I'd left campus since my suspension. And the first time I wasn't running from shame, but walking straight into power. The Unmuted Voices studio was small, clean, and packed with energy. Producers buzzed around like bees. Notes. Equipment. Laptops. Files. Kenechukwu greeted me like an old friend. He didn't treat me like a victim. He treated me like someone with a weapon. Because that's what I had become. A voice sharpened by betrayal. He led me into a glass room, mic in front of me. Soft lighting. A notepad. Water. I took a deep breath. He hit record. Tell us everything, Amoka. And I did. I told them about Obinna. The exams. The silence. The manipulation. The studio receipts. The radio show. The lawsuit. The pregnancy. The portal sabotage. Ejioma. Everything. But just when I thought the interview was over, Kenechukwu leaned forward. Now I want to tell you something. He pulled out a thick manila file. Inside. 2 more victim testimonies. 2 women. Different universities. Different years. But the same pattern. Same sweet-talking, Ebo-lyric singing Obinna. Same emotional bait. Same manipulation. Same forgery. Same use and dump routine. One girl said he convinced her to open a bank account in her name so he could receive performance payments. She didn't know she was being used to launder stolen funds from a student union event. Another said he ghosted her after she found out she was pregnant, and told her friends she was obsessed and trying to trap him. That's when I realized. This wasn't heartbreak. This was a pattern of calculated abuse. We've been tracking his name since 2021, Kenechukwu said. He moves between schools, changes his social media identity, and starts fresh. But your story. It exposed him in a way we never could. And now we have enough for a full expose. He slid the folder toward me. We want you to narrate the podcast episode. My heart stopped. Me? Yes. You're not just part of the story, Amoka. You are the story. And you're going to help take him down. Recording the episode was surreal. For the first time, I spoke like I was taking back the pen from the man who tried to write me out of my own future. I read the testimonies. Played the voice notes. Called him out by name. I even read one of his lyrics, line for line, then played my original text where I'd written the same metaphor. People were going to hear this. Feel it. And when the episode dropped 3 days later, All hell broke loose. Title: The Boy Who Sang Love Songs While Breaking Lives, The Obinna Graves Files. Platform: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Tagline: He broke their trust. Now, they are breaking his silence. It trended for 5 straight days. Twitter exploded with hashtags. Hashtag Obinna the Manipulator. Hashtag Justice for Mocha. Hashtag Protect Young Women. Hashtag Unmuted Voices Podcast. People began coming forward. A male former classmate messaged the podcast anonymously, saying Obinna once convinced him to submit stolen academic material under his own name, then blamed him when it got flagged. The man got expelled. Obinna walked free. Pattern. After pattern. After pattern. The final blow came from inside Obinna's own house. His ex-music producer, someone I never met, shared a video of Obinna mocking my suspension. In the video, Obinna is seen laughing, saying, "Omo, that babe they cry like say no death. Not just school now. I tell am say e go pass." He called me naive. He said I was too emotional. He said I should have known music boys always move on. And in that moment, the internet chose a side. And it wasn't his. Late that night, after all the chaos online, I got one final message. An unknown number. No profile photo. "You've made your point. But you're making dangerous enemies. People don't forget girls who talk too much." And attached. A photo of my family's house. Taken that same day. This was no longer just a story. It was a war. The photo of my family's house burned into my retinas like a curse. Our compound gate. My mother's planting trees. The red sand driveway I'd walked for years. The message underneath was short. Code. People don't forget girls who talk too much. My hands trembled as I stared at the screen. Not from fear. From fury. Obinna, or someone acting on his behalf, had crossed the final line. He'd gone from manipulation and humiliation to intimidation. I knew what this meant. I was no longer just fighting a personal battle. I was threatening something bigger than just a lying ex. I was exposing a system of silence. And silence fights back. I showed the message to Kenechukwu first. He didn't blink. "This confirms what we suspected," he said. "Obinna's not alone. He's protected, maybe by student leaders, fake promoters, maybe even staff. But now we have proof he's trying to silence witnesses." He connected me to a media legal foundation. A real law firm. They took the threat seriously. Filed a police report. Flagged my number for protection. Installed digital tracking on my phone in case of future harassment. It felt surreal, me, Amoka Chidima Okafor, once just a suspended student with a broken heart, now being briefed by lawyers and media experts on how to handle blackmail and stalking. But I wasn't backing down. Not now. Not ever. The podcast was picked up by Nigerian morning shows. Hashtag Justice for Mocha trended nationally. I was invited on TV. Radio. Instagram lives. Bloggers called. Influencers DM'd. Even a senator's assistant reached out, asking if I testify at a youth education hearing on abuse of power in universities. But the fame came with shadows. People started whispering on campus. Some lecturers stayed too long. Some students said I was chasing clout. One even accused me of trying to ruin a talented black man's career. Funny how when a man ruins a woman, it's life. But when a woman tells the truth, it's a campaign. Then came the bombshell. An anonymous whistleblower, someone from the Student Union Executive Committee, emailed me evidence. Screenshots of payments. Proof of bribery. Obinna had been using union funds to pay for studio time, hotel rooms, and flights under fake event budgets. They'd covered it up for months, because his rising fame helped the SUG's image. Expose him, the email read. But be careful. He knows too many people. People in places you wouldn't imagine. I contacted Channels TV. They agreed to do an exclusive expose. A national segment. 1 week later, I stood in a makeup chair, being powdered for camera. A girl who once cried alone in her bedroom was now going live on national television to tell Nigeria. Don't protect men who build their dreams on our silence. After the segment aired, Obinna's world collapsed in days. His SUG protection vanished. His record label dropped him. Browns pulled out of campus concerts he was supposed to headline. A student lawyer filed a petition for criminal investigation into misuse of union funds. Ajioma's case. Now officially under review by a gender-based violence advocacy organization. And me. I was getting offers. Scholarships. Internships. Panel invites. But most importantly, I got a call from my school's academic board. They wanted me to help draft a new student code of academic accountability. I wasn't just reinstated. I was rewriting the rules. The same night my TV interview aired, I received another email. No words. No subject. Just one image. A flight ticket. Paid for in cash. Booked under Obinna's full name. Destination: Accra, Ghana. Departure: tomorrow morning. He was running. I stared at the email like it was daring me to act. Obinna Chukwuemeka Graves. Lagos, Accra. One-way ticket. Paid in cash. Departure: 7:20 am. Terminal: Murtala Muhammad International Airport. There was no note. No warning. No explanation. Just a ghost of a message from a man finally trying to vanish from the fire he set. But here's the thing. You don't get to escape justice just because you packed early. Amora begged me not to go. You've done enough, she said, voice trembling. You exposed him. You got your life back. Why chase him across countries? I shook my head. It's not about me anymore. What if it's a trap? Then I'll walk into it with my eyes open. Because I wasn't going to let him rebuild his empire somewhere else, on new girls, new victims, new lies. Not when I could end this story with truth. I took the 5 a.m. bus to the airport. No entourage. No press. Just me, my file of documents, my burner phone for safety, and a heart full of unfinished business. I got through security, my eyes scanning every face, every corridor. He wasn't in the lounge. He wasn't near the check-in counters. But then, just as they began calling boarding groups, I saw him. Black hoodie. Sunglasses. Backpack. Alone. He looked over his shoulder 3 times like a man running from sins too loud to ignore. And for the first time since this story began, I didn't feel rage. I felt pity. Because even in his flight, he looked small. I followed him down the terminal quietly. I didn't approach him. I didn't scream. Instead, I took out my phone. Zoomed in. Snapped 3 clear pictures. Then I opened WhatsApp and sent them to 3 places. Kanechukwu, who replied instantly. Got them. Tracking incoming. The podcast legal team, who began contacting airport authorities. Ajioma, with a simple note. He's trying to disappear. But not if we stop him. Just as his gate was called, 2 security officers approached him. There was a brief conversation. He turned sharply, eyes scanning. Saw me. Our eyes locked. For a second, everything stopped. The boy I once loved, once called Mpirubi, stood frozen. Then they took his bag and led him away. Not arrested. But detained. For questioning. Because of you. Because of us. Because of every voice he tried to silence. I didn't board a plane that day. I didn't need to. Justice doesn't always wear handcuffs. Sometimes it walks away with its head held high, while the liar you loved is left answering questions under cold fluorescent lights. Later that night, I got a call. Not from Kenechukwu. Not from the legal team. From Obinna himself. I froze as I stared at the screen. But I picked up. "Amoka," he said softly. "You should be talking to your lawyer," I replied. "I just wanted to say. I never meant to hurt you this way." I almost laughed. "You meant every step," I said coldly. "You meant the silence. You meant the gaslighting. You meant the fake screenshots. The lawsuit. The threats. The running. The only thing you never meant was to get caught." There was a pause. Then he whispered, "You ruined me." "No," I said, fire returning to my voice. "You ruined yourself." I just turned the light on. The next morning, I woke up to a trending post. #Obinna arrested in Accra. Nigerian musician detained in Ghana after fleeing fraud, academic scandal. But what caught my eye wasn't the headline. It was the photo attached. Obinna, being led into a security vehicle. And beside him, a woman. Tall. Braided hair. Holding a folder. It wasn't Ijeoma. It was someone I hadn't seen in months. Addis. And in her hand, a document titled, Statement of Partnership, Graves and Addis Entertainment Limited. Addis. I hadn't heard that name in months. The girl I'd once trusted. The girl who agreed to test Obinna's loyalty. The girl who sent that first DM. The girl who vanished. Now here she was, back from the dead, not just reunited with Obinna, but in business with him. Graves and Addis Entertainment Ltd. I couldn't decide if I wanted to scream or laugh. So that was her game? She wasn't just the bait. She wasn't even just the other woman. She was the architect. When I showed the photo to Amora, she nearly threw her phone at the wall. All this time, she played both sides. She said she was doing it for you, Amoka. I think she started that way, I said, voice low. But somewhere along the line, she chose herself. Chose him. Chose fame. Or money. Or revenge. You could drag her too, Amora snapped. You have enough evidence. DMs, messages. Records. Burn them both. But I just stared at the photo. And what I saw wasn't a threat. It was a cage. Obinna and Addis, bound together in a partnership built on secrets, lies, and the corpses of people like me and Ijeoma. Let them have it. Let them rot in it. The court hearings moved forward in Nigeria and in Ghana. The fraud charges stuck. The school funds misuse case was upheld. The pregnancy threat was forwarded to a gender crimes division. And the university finally issued a public apology to me and Ijeoma. But what mattered most? The silence broke. Girls started coming forward, not just about Obinna, but others. Predatory lecturers. Abusive boyfriends. Fraudulent union reps. What started as my heartbreak had become a movement. On the day Obinna's sentence was confirmed, 18 months in a Ghanaian facility for fraud and academic impersonation, I got a message from his mother. I almost didn't open it. But curiosity won. He was never taught to handle a woman like you. I hope you heal. I hope he learns. I'm sorry. It was unexpected. And somehow, it hurt more than any insult she could have sent. Because I didn't want apologies anymore. I wanted peace. Ijeoma graduated with honors. She now works with a gender advocacy NGO. Kenechukwu's podcast. It won an award for the expose. Me. I got a full ride to finish school, and I changed my major. From economics to journalism. Because I realized something. My pain had power. And my voice was dangerous to the right people. The last time I saw Obinna, it wasn't in person. It was on a laptop screen. A courtroom live stream. He looked hollow. Defeated. He wasn't wearing a hoodie or sunglasses. Just handcuffs. The judge asked if he had anything to say. He turned to the camera and said, "Amoka, you got your revenge." But he was wrong. I didn't want revenge anymore. I wanted freedom. And I already had it. I walked past our old lecture hall one last time. The seat where I used to write his assignments. Empty. The spot where he waited with flowers that day. Dusty. But me. I was smiling. Because I didn't just survive the betrayal. I buried it. And built something stronger on top. My name is Amoka Okafor. I once risked everything for a man who wouldn't have crossed the street for me. But this is not a story about heartbreak. It's a story about rebirth. Never take the fall for someone who'd watch you bleed. And if you do, get back up. And make sure the world hears your voice echo through the silence they try to bury you in. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. Would you choose love or loyalty? And don't forget to subscribe for more true secrets every day.